How many of you came here to see if another YouTube critic would be glazing Chris Stuckmann's new movie, Shelby Oaks? Or are you one of those looking to find someone that was willing to rip into him after he recently found himself in controversy among the critic community? I'm going to be completely frank right here out of the gate. I didn't love this film. On a surface level, Shelby Oaks is fairly well crafted. Both the cinematography and sound are very well done. It's got the polished indie art house horror vibe that has become all the rage since A24's rise to fame. But throughout the film, I found myself struggling with narrative and structural issues that were rather immersion breaking. This whole situation is really interesting because YouTube is quickly becoming a springboard for launching content creators straight into Hollywood to create successful mainstream theater and TV projects. It's an amazing time to be showcasing your talents. The whole world is watching now that the industry isn't gatekeeping and they can be completely bypassed. We have seen the Philippou brothers go on to create 2 feature films, with Talk to Me taking on the horror space by storm. Kane Parsons got scooped up by A24 to adapt his series The Backrooms into a feature film, and Markiplier recently got a TV show with Amazon called Edge of Sleep, and he's also been working on his own debut horror thriller film called Iron Lung. The list goes on, but you get the point. YouTubers are doing really big things right now, which brings me to Shelby Oaks. This new neon-produced horror film is another in the growing line of films created by YouTubers. And this time is Chris Stuckmann that is up to bat as the writer and director. What's even more interesting about him is that, if I am not mistaken, he is the first among the critic space to actually do this. If you don't know, Chris recently decided to stop critiquing films that he didn't enjoy because the guilt associated with the negative reviews. And apparently his previous occupation began to feel a bit dirty after he decided to hop into the director's chair himself. But my real reason for bringing all of this up is that his notoriety in this arena is likely to cause nearly every review that you see to be tainted with some level of bias. Most reviewers will likely be very aware of this entire situation and too close to the subject matter to critique it objectively. Luckily, I've seen very little of Stuckmann's reviews and have no genuine opinions on him either way outside of the recent controversy. But even with my light exposure to his work, I'm still aware enough of the whole situation to likely also be affected. But let's go ahead and really dig into why I said I wasn't too hot on Shelby Oaks, because let's be straight. If you have seen it, I don't see how anyone could deny that this film doesn't have its fair share of issues, even if you did enjoy it overall. The core concept of the film is fairly simple. We follow a woman hell-bent on finding her missing sister, but the more she uncovers, the more she realizes how few people are likely going to believe the actual truth. Conceptually, I enjoy what Stuckmann was going for. He's mixing actual supernatural horror and grounded investigative elements. It's a really cool approach. There are a few solid scares and some good gore and even a cool creature design. But outside of that, we hit my main problem, which is that none of this is written very well. I was consistently left asking, why is this woman so stupid? This is a notorious horror movie issue, and I'm honestly shocked Stuckmann stumbled into it. At points, it was so obvious that it almost felt like he was calling attention to the reckless lead character that he wrote. For example, our lead character Mia, played by Camille Sullivan, grabs a knife to protect herself. Then she sets the knife down for no real reason, only to totally forget about the knife and leave it behind, even though she is still in extreme danger. Or how she is constantly going to investigate specific areas in the middle of the night without anybody at all knowing, and there is no real reason given as to why she could not have waited until daytime. Yeah, nighttime, it looks cool and it's spooky, but give me a reason why. I don't want to spend the film thinking of ways that I would have done it better. And if you are familiar with any of my reviews, I'm not one of those people who hyperanalyze things. I'm often accused of being far too forgiving. So if it's happening to me, then it's likely an issue. But stupidity of our lead character aside, I honestly feel like the entire film is full of paper-thin characters. In all honesty, no one truly matters except our lead, and there is not much there to her except for her near insane persistence to find Riley. So in the end, I'm left asking, who am I supposed to like or root for? And then we have the pacing. There is an odd amount of fluff here when it comes to Mia's investigation. I feel like I was supposed to care more about what was happening, but Mia is never really doing much. We watch as she slowly comes to fairly simple conclusions that lead to quick, intense, typically supernatural or violent moments, and then things just slow back down again. It's this odd ebb and flow that kills the tension. Now, one big plus for me, though, is that Shelby Oaks does at least give solid reveals and answers to questions, where other films would have left you guessing, so I have to commend Stuckmann for that. I hate to be sent through this entire journey only to be told to just kind of decide for myself what happened. Granted, on the other hand, I wish he would have held his cards a bit closer to his chest. I feel like we were given a good idea of what was transpiring really early on in the film. There will be plenty for folks to enjoy, especially if this is your brand of horror. And without giving away too much, I know that films of the demonic variety do tend to rub some folks the wrong way, especially for those of you who are more religious. As a whole, I'm guessing that this could all be summed up to growing pains. Every once in a while, a director's debut film will be near perfect, but that's extraordinarily rare. I think that Stuckmann could have a bright future as a director. I'm just not quite sure where he sits as a writer quite yet. And more than anything, I admire the risks that Chris took to follow his dreams, to create something like this knowing full well that it might make him an easy target for his previous YouTube critic peers. My official Criticless review will be sitting somewhere in the decent range. I'm likely gonna be around 50% on our rating scale. Ultimately, I had a decent time at the theater. I got some of those Halloween horror vibes I was looking for, but I was also left rather conflicted by the end result of Shelby Oaks. I don't know that I will go back to it at any point, but I would try another film by Chris Stuckmann again. Let me know down in the comments below. Are you planning to watch Shelby Oaks? And if so, is it because of Chris Stuckmann, or is it in spite of him? Or is all of this YouTuber movie drama totally new information for you? I want to know it all. So as always, if you have seen it, go drop your review on criticless.com to help get our audience score as accurate as it can be. We want to really help guide the people to the entertainment that is worth watching. But thanks again, guys. I will be back for another review before you know it. Everybody make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to hear more takes like this, and I'm out of here. Take it easy. Later.